Yes, I just want to talk a bit about why I've chosen to volunteer and the significance of volunteering in Africa for me. So I'm of Caribbean heritage. I was born here though, um, but going back some generations, I am of African descent, and as such, Africa means quite a lot to me. You know, Africa's history, Africa in its present state, the future potential of Africa is all beautiful to me, and I'm just excited to be able to go and learn more and further my understanding of what Africa is. Um, Even though it is just one country, don't get me wrong, one country doesn't reflect the whole of Africa, but I think it's a beautiful start and it's a beautiful opportunity. So living in the West, I've been afforded certain advantages in many aspects, not all aspects, but in many aspects of health, education, social mobility, um, and I think as such, it's only right for me to then be able to take some of what I've learned, take some of the opportunities I've been given, and uh, use it to help Africa and Africans back home as they help themselves. Um, it's real important that we all sit down and think about how we can um, contribute to helping Africa with what it's already doing, because Africa is doing things, it is progressing, the economy is growing, creative industries are growing, like Africa's doing big things. Um, but sometimes, you know, you need an extra hand, and that's what this volunteering is for me, just giving an extra hand where it's been asked for, you know. Um, and I think many of us in the diaspora um, are in a position where we can give something. If it's not our time, then it might be our money. If it's not our money, then it's maybe promoting certain issues. And believe me, there are enough issues for us all to help out with and raise awareness and try make changes for the better. So, for those of you who don't know what the word diaspora means, it's a word that has Greek origins, and it means to disperse or to scatter, and it's used in reference to groups of people or populations who disperse. They scatter. They go off. They travel. They settle in new places, and the term African diaspora it's mainly used to refer to the scattering of Africans from mainland Africa to around the world during the Atlantic slave trade in the 16th to 19th centuries. However, that is not the first time Africans left Africa. It's well documented that there has been an African diaspora for many, many years before the Atlantic slave trade began. You can find African presence documented in Asia, in the Americas, in Europe. We've been around. Um, the relevance of that today is that the African presence is very strong around the world still. In the UK, the 2011 census put the number of Africans in the UK alone at over 1.8 million. So that's Africans from the mainland, Caribbean Africans, uh, yeah. So when we look at that number, we're not just thinking about an African individual that exists. We're talking about a substantial resource pool. You know, it's a quite substantial resource pool. 1.8 million of us. So at 1.8 million, the African diaspora in the UK is potentially really, really powerful. In terms of a voice, in terms of finances, in terms of ingenuity and ideas and inspiration and support and hands-on help, like it's potentially powerful. And I think, and it's happening, it's definitely happening. When you look in your community, you can always find a group somewhere who is working to shed a more truthful, more representative light on what Africa is and its potential to shift the focus away from Africa being a desolate place, a place with its hand always open for aid. Is more than that, and it's about refocusing and reshifting our our gaze on the wealth of Africa. My thing is that I really do think it's important that more of us from the diaspora do in some way go back or give back, because we really can make a change. It really is a collective effort. But when I'm talking about going to Africa to lend a hand to contribute to the growth that's already experiencing of its own initiative, I'm not just talking to those of African descent primarily, because there is nothing quite like unity, community, self-determination, collective work and responsibility. It's a beautiful thing. Autonomy and independence, it's all wonderful. This is why I'm really focusing so much on the African diaspora, but it really is open to everyone who is going with the right mindset and the right attitude and going in a respectful manner. That's really important. And just to keep in mind that Africa is that the struggles that Africa has, they don't have it by choice. There's a very dark history pertaining to Africa's relationships with European countries that have left Africa with many of the problems that it has today. So it is a shared responsibility.